Hey, it's Dr. J. Hi students, I am here to do a video lecture for you on chapter 15, which covers human resources management. Now, I particularly love this chapter because my forte, my specialty is human resources. All right, so we are going to cover some main objectives, some main learning objectives. All right, we're going to explain the importance of human resources management. Also, we're going to discuss key human resources issues in today's economy. We're going to outline some challenges and opportunities that human resource functions face and discuss human resources planning and core human resources responsibilities. All right, so human resources management, what is it? Well, it is everything a business needs to function. It's rules, it's regulations, it's policy, it's development, it's training, it's evaluation. It's a lot of different things. Whether you're working for yourself or you're working for others, whether you're in an LLC or a corporation, you need human resources. Human resources processes payroll, conducts annual training, provides rules and regulations to everything that's needed to stay on top of federal and state laws, right? It's really important to take care of that stuff. They do recruitment, they do hiring events, they do layoffs, outsourcing, you name it, human resources has some kind of play in it, all right? So we're going to start off with the layoffs and outsourcing. So layoffs and outsourcing. Now, when a employee gets laid off or if something is outsourced to a company, the layoff normally comes with some kind of severance package depending on what the position is. So for an example, if you are a middle manager or a top manager and you get laid off, more than likely you have what's called a golden parachute, okay? Golden parachute is a severance package based on your wages and your worth to the company, all right? So you normally get something based on your salary for a certain amount of months, along with benefits and some kind of educational package to go with it to develop yourself and to either get a new trade or keep going towards your current trade. All right. Outsourcing. Outsourcing is fairly simple. Normally, when you think of outsourcing, you think of outsourcing to other countries, but outsourcing is also outsourcing to within a company, meaning that you're hiring contractors to do a particular position, or it might be outsourcing product development, outsourcing business plans. It could be outsourcing pretty much anything. It does not mean that outsourcing is taking away jobs. Outsourcing could bring jobs to the company as well. All right? Okay, good stuff. I think you can tell I'm really excited about this chapter. All right, so human resources talks about a lot of things. We talk about legislation that covers protection for older workers. We cover legislation for younger workers, for women. Work-life balance is really important. Lawsuits, and overall just understanding different issues that can come up within HR. Now, one part of HR that's kind of a tandem is EEO. So the Equal Employment Opportunity Office is where you go if you have a complaint with either your manager or you're not happy with your job or you may feel you're being harassed, but whether it be physically, sexually, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, things like that. So human resources also takes care of employees in the matter of protecting them to make sure that they're working in a viable and a very quantifiable environment in order to produce good work and good services for a company. All right? All right, so one of the main things we all know human resources for is interviews. So when you're interviewing, you're probably interviewing with somebody that has reviewed the applications, somebody that has gone through your qualifications, ensured you were eligible for the position, and then now you're at the interview. So the interview is a very strategic process. Interviews have to be consistent, they have to be exact, and they have to be fair, okay? So consistency means that it's got to be consistent within every single candidate. So if I get asked questions about my work experience, how long I've worked in a certain position, things like that. Those same questions have to be consistent, okay? Interviews also give the business and human resources office an overall idea of who you are professionally. So this is your time not only to be interviewed, but to interview the company as well. I always recommend to clients that when you go to interviews, make sure you have a list of questions that you want to ask them, okay? Because you're interviewing to see if you want to be at that company, just like they're interviewing you to see if they want you to be at that company, all right? Good stuff. All right, so training and development. So there's a couple of mandatory training and developments that have to happen within human resources. So one of them is diversity training. That's an annual training that has to get done. Sexual harassment training has to get done annually. And any type of software or technological training that equates to your position. All right. Now there's different types of training when it comes to on-the-job training versus online training versus conference trainings. There's all different types of trainings you can go to. Now, more than likely, you could probably, get your annual training done online, because I'm sure companies have certain things that you can take for training online, but it's also something that's a matter of whatever the organizational culture and structure is for their training programs. All right. All right, we have pay for performance. So pay for performance is really important because it's a benefit that employers can use for their employees. Not only can they use them for their employees, but they can use it as an incentive. So this is a part of the incentive program. So your pay for performance can be equated to your actual duties or collateral duties. All right. There's also called parts for pay. All right. Meaning that if you're working in an industry where you're creating parts for cars or washing machines or other mechanical devices, and you are productive and you're making more parts than you should for the day, or you're meeting your quota, you could technically, if there's an incentive program, be paid extra for the additional work that you're doing because you're making the company more profitable by creating more parts. All right. But also pay for performance is also based on just that, pay for performance. So you could be paid for your performance, whether it be salary, hourly, contractually. It just depends on what the wages and what the compensation is for your particular position at that job. All right. Performance appraisals. So human resources does performance appraisals, but it's also a matter of what the employee has written down and kept track of. I always say to my employees, it's important that you keep up with everything that you're doing, so that way when performance evaluation time comes, you can tell me what you've been doing, so that way I don't have to guess. Okay? You need to keep up with your goals, your performances, your trainings, your additional education, your collateral duties, extra projects, things you've done for employees, peer training, anything outside of work, even volunteer work. I always ask my employees, have you done anything volunteer? Have you, volunteered at the, city pantry or the homeless shelter or anything like that? That all counts towards your performance appraisals, because it shows that you are doing extracurricular activities in the community to better the community, which also betters the business because you're part of the business. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, flex time. I love flex time. So I wanted to give a little bit more clear explanation with flex time because the book talks about it, but I don't think it's exactly clear. So flex time is basically this. So, and it's a benefit. So if your company does not have flex time or you don't know about it, then I recommend asking HR or sending an email to your manager or something like that, or doing some research. But what flex time basically is you have a set core hours that you have to be at your job. So let's say you have to be there by 9, okay? You're going to be there by 9. So with flex time, your supervisor can give you the option to come in between 7 and 9 and leave between 4 and 5. Okay, so you can flex in and out from those 2 hours of coming in and going out, but the core hours of work are going to be from 9 to 5 or 9 to 4 or something like that. So as long as you're there by the core hours, then it counts. Okay, telecommuting, kind of, that's a benefit as well. Not all organizations have telecommuting, so that's basically when you work from home. Some companies want to make sure that you have a viable workplace, so they actually have HR members come into your home and make sure you have a desk and an office and a closed door, computer, cameras, things like that. Some don't, but it just depends. All right. So we're going to go over Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the EEOC Commission. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is basically the act that goes over rights of minorities so that they are not discriminated against, okay, fairly treated. And it kind of goes tandem with affirmative action. So affirmative action is basically the understanding of making policy and increases for employment and education for people that were being discriminated against in a certain group. Okay, there's also reverse affirmative action as well. Okay, the EEOC has made sure to implement not only the Civil Rights Act of 1964, but also the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938, Equal Pay Act of 1963, and Occupational Safety Health Act of 1970. Now, the EEOC is the dominator of human resources, rules and regulations, and policies. So if something's going to change with any of the acts, constitutional amendments, things like that, it's going to be reflected within the EEOC legislation. All right? So with the Fair Labor Standards Act, it's all about establishing a fair minimum wage for a good day's work. Fair day's work, fair day's wage. Okay, that's an easy way to remember that. Equal pay of 1963 goes into equal pay for men and for women, depending on the aspect of the job. So if your job is a construction worker versus a doctor, then the pay is going to be equated to whatever your position is and where you are within that position. Okay? And then the Occupational Safety and Health Act. So Occupational Safety and Health Act is all about making sure that you are working in a very safe environment. And if there's anything unsafe about the environment, then you have the ability to either call the OSHA, which is what that's short for, call OSHA and let them know, hey, this environment's not safe, or contact your managers, either your middle managers or your supervisors, to get it corrected so that way you're working in a safe place. Okay? All right. So we are also going to go over sexual harassment. So sexual harassment is really important, especially in HR, because it does not determine that the sexual harassment has to be anything one specific. If you are offended by a photo, then that could be sexual harassment. If you are offended by a slanderous joke, then that could be sexual harassment. The key component is to voice your uncomfortableness with any particular situation, whether it be somebody touching your shoulders, somebody saying something to you, anything equating to you being uncomfortable or feeling uncomfortable. Okay? Also, it's really important to let the person know if you're comfortable with that. If not, then once again, you talk to your main supervisor or a middle manager, or even go to your EEO office for additional help. All right, so that was Chapter 15, which was Human Resources Management. If you have any questions, students, you are more than welcome to call me, email me, or come by my office. I am Dr. J, and I am here for your success. All right, have a wonderful day.